Thursday, everybody. Good, or Wednesday. Is it Thursday? Maybe that's wishful thinking. Good Wednesday to you, everyone. Good to have you with us. Troy Renck with us to make sense of it all from the Denver Post. You can check him out on his podcast here at Mile High Sports. Troy, how are you this morning, my man?
Doing fantastic, Bruce. It's been an unbelievable fall / now early winter of Colorado professional sports. So enjoying every second of it after those previous 7-8 years of Broncos seasons. This has been a nice change of pace across the board with Broncos, Nuggets, Avs.
Yeah, it really has. And I hope to get to a little of the Nuggets and the Avs coming up in our second segment. But in the lead this morning, let's go with a perception of the Broncos after the Chiefs as we get going here on Hot Takes with Goodman and Haertl.
The lead is presented by Sasquatch Casino, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
All right, Troy, how much does one game change the perception of the Denver Broncos? If you live out there in the other world, the national world, apparently the switches have now been flipped and everybody is seeing all of a sudden, wow, the Broncos are actually a credible football team. But for those of us who are boots on the ground with eyes on this product day in and day out, how much has the perception of the product changed based solely on 60 minutes against the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, they've now become – it was funny. They started this summer as a media darling because Sean Payton was so vocal to national reporters about how he viewed this team as a Super Bowl contender. So they started here, right? And then as the season went on, they get off to that 1-2 beginning and get walked off a couple times. So there's doubt, like, is this team really ready for prime time? Are they really legit? And then like rolled off, 8 straight wins,
right?
11 straight wins at home. But the disrespect last week was still real. I mean, they were only the 6th team, Bruce, in history to have at least a 10-game home winning streak and be an underdog.
Yeah.
The first since 2007. So it was real. And there was meat to that bone because of the fact they went 25 minutes without getting a first down against the Raiders. And the national audience, when you play on a standalone game and the audience leaves wanting to, basically take their eyeballs out with a rusty fork based on watching you, that's part of the issue. It's like, Denver's not for real. The Raiders stink.
Right.
Denver has to struggle to get past the Raiders. But we said then, style points don't matter anymore if you beat the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs are so highly regarded, foolishly this season, in my opinion. Like, you're 5-4, and they're considered the Super Bowl favorite. Give me a break. But you do it against the Chiefs, and you do it in the fourth quarter, and you do it with your quarterback, Bo Nix, outplaying Patrick Mahomes. Not the first time that's happened. That changes the perception. So I do believe it's changed. Every ranking that I've seen nationally has them outside. I think it was one that had them 6, but every ranking has them top 5. A lot had them at 3. Depending on where you see the Rams, the Colts, and the Colts deserve to be ranked ahead of them. They beat them head to head. But they are, based on everything now, a top 5 team nationally with a chance, Bruce, at the AFC top seed. I'd be surprised if they get it because of their schedule and the fact that the Patriots, I think, have everyone but CU and CSU on their schedule. So it's going to be hard. But the perception has changed. And it's the Broncos. And I watch a lot of sports TV, listen to a lot of national talk radio. It's changed. It's not like they're just, oh, my God, they're unbelievable, but they're like, okay, they're legitimate now.
Yeah, absolutely. Legitimacy is a big step to be taken from a national perception. There's no doubt that they're there right now. How interesting is it that Sean Payton, and you've already touched upon this, made these statements in the preseason, and it's so wonderfully full of the kind of bombast sometimes that you actually kind of appreciate when you're covering a guy like Sean Payton, because he'll go to the edge sometimes with a statement. And obviously we eat that kind of stuff up. It's great theater when you have a guy willing to put himself out there. But as it turns out, he put himself out there with a pretty good feeling and apparently the right feeling about a football team that I think a lot of other people simply couldn't see.
Yeah, listen, I learned my lesson last year when I think I predicted them to win 6 games, 7 games
Right.
last year. I think it was 6. If I haven't had to look it up, because just not sure where they'd be with a rookie quarterback and the huge cap hit, and there was a lot of questions about young players. This year, I picked them to go 11-6 and win the division. Now I'm probably going to sell them short. I mean, they would have to go 2-4. I don't see that. I think worse they go 3-3 over these final 6. But the thing about Payton, and he can be annoying. He treats the media in ways as if he's Marie Antoinette firing cake down to us from the balcony, but he's very consistent.
Yeah, he is.
He's confident, and he answers questions at the podium. And the thing about him, this is what his 17th, 18th year. I think when he said that over the summer, he said he's basically believed like 8 or 9 teams at that point in the summer, in July, he felt like they'd go to a Super Bowl. He's not saying win it. He's very careful about that, which is smart. You start saying we're going to win a Super Bowl, that's a different conversation. But so that when he said it that way and he framed it that way, it means more and resonates. This isn't a coach saying, "Oh, we can go to the Super Bowl," because then you roll your eyes. Like every team says that. And then he's saying, "I've only felt this way about half of my teams, or even a little over a third of the teams I've coached that I feel this way about." And I'm telling you, you're in there more than I am now, Bruce, in the locker room. He instills a confidence in players, and that's part of it. That's culture. But that the reason they buy in and believe is because he goes into meetings, he tells them things, and then they happen. He tells them, we're going to need to do this in the fourth quarter, and if we win this turnover battle, if we do this, you're going to win the game. And then it happens. That's why they believe in him. When coaches run into problems, is we can win a Super Bowl, and then you start 0-4, and you're getting your ass handed to you. And they look at the coach and be like, this guy's just, it's Pollyanna stuff. It doesn't work. But he was right. He was right. He felt it. He believed it. At 1-2, we were like, And there's definitely times over the past 7 weeks, offensively, they don't look like a Super Bowl team. But we do have to say this. This is a championship caliber defense in every way. Could they get a few more takeaways? Of course. The league's a little different now than it was in 2015. Teams are risk averse. But I think anyone who watches this team is Vance Joseph weekly is given a master class on defense, on how to use pressure. And if they feel like if you can keep the game to 17, they're going to win. Yeah. And that's just like you with your background in baseball. If our starter is going to hold you to 1 or 2 runs, we only need a bloop and a blast, and we're winning a game. That's kind of how it feels like watching them. So does their offense stink at times? Yes, it has. But if they get going, they get in sync offensively, they have a chance. And even if they're not the 1 seed, Bruce, I'll turn it on you. Who can they not beat? If you look at the AFC, like I'm not saying they're going to, but you look at the AFC this year, who's the obvious team that would beat them in the playoffs at home or the road?
You're absolutely right. And I would take that another step and look across the aisle to the NFC. Who are you really afraid of? I mean, I'll take Jonathan Cooper's remark in the locker room last weekend and put it out there. Who is this team afraid of? Well, when you play defense the way that they play it, the answer is nobody, because you're going to be in a rock fight with this group. They are going to make it a close football game and give you a chance to win games the way that people have complained about the Broncos winning games. And by the way, the very way they won the game against the Chiefs had been the way that people had been complaining near and far about the manner in which they're winning. Now, all of a sudden, it's de rigueur. It's fashionable. It's, wow, look at the Broncos. They're a great fourth quarter team. Hell, they're winning the games the same way they won them. Maybe not in quite as they were much more consistent, I thought, offensively in the game against Kansas City. They only went 2 and out, I think, twice, 2 true 3 and outs twice. So they were moving the football. There was rhythm in the offense, which leads me to my next query for you. The relationship between Payton and Bo Nix. How is it evolving at this point? I saw this as a very symbiotic relationship last year when you had the young quarterback coming in the senior mentor, not a lot of questioning, some pushback every now and then, which I think the mentor really kind of liked from his young protege. How has that relationship continued to evolve, do you think? And how would you define it at this point?
Yeah, it's a great question because it has been different this year. And you brought up a great point, Bruce. They are 7-2 in one score games. Last year they were 1-6. And when we say who are they scared of, if memory serves, because I was at the Super Bowl last year, they've beaten the Eagles, they've beaten the Chiefs.
Right.
Those teams were in the Super Bowl last year. The Rams are the one team on the NFC that I would be, not scared of, but they are dangerous. But you look at the way this has evolved. Last year, they still threw too much. Sean Payton gets the fever. He loves the pass. Yeah. He sees his screen game kind of as his run game. And now Bo leads the league in pass attempts. That's not great. No. But last year, there got to be a point over that final 12-game stretch where he kind of bent to Bo's strengths, especially New Orleans Thursday night. Simple game plan. Bo runs for like 71 yards, and he just seemed to make it a little easier on him. The thing you and I saw out there in the summer when we talked about the evolving relationship, Bo is a coach's son through and through. His dad, Patrick Nix, played at Auburn. He's been one of the most successful coaches, high school coaches in the state of Alabama. And other places, but he's a great high school coach. So Bo wants to be coached hard. Payton coaches him hard.
Yeah.
Bo can take the mental side of it. He's that kid in the class. You keep giving him stuff and he can take it, but it slowed him down physically. I think he's asked too much of him. There's been too much on his plate, and Bo's resistance or pushback that we've seen multiple times in press conferences. Man, I'm comfortable in tempo. Yeah. I like that the defense isn't set. I like that we're not reacting, we're initiating. And I feel we get mad mismatches. And he said this like 3 different press conferences.
Yes, he has.
To which Payton's like, tempo, huffy, puffy, tempo. And I get it because you can't be the staple of your offense because of what it does to your defense.
Right.
But had they lost this game to the Chiefs, I believe on talk radio, the week-long dialogue, if they had lost like 17-13, 20-13 would have been, are they going to fix the disconnect between Bo Nix and Sean Payton? I'm not saying it's tension as much as I saw a disconnect at multiple times where they get to a point in the game and you need to make Bo comfortable because when he's frenetic in a clean pocket, mind you, his feet are moving and he's pump faking, that's telling it's too much going on in his head. It's too good of an athlete to be out back there with nobody in front of him. Pump fake. So I saw Bruce against Kansas City, especially in the third quarter on, them kind of reconnecting and recalibrating. And he went 7 for 8 for 131 yards. And some of that's on Payton. He's dialing up. That pass to Pat Bryant is just an unbelievable play call, right? Yeah. And then what it does is it gives confidence to Bo to convert those third downs on that last drive. And then he makes where Payton talks about, Bruce, when you look at film, is it the players or the play? The final pass to Franklin, that's the players. Yeah. That's an out route. The corner has outside leverage, and he essentially threw a back shoulder pass. It didn't look exactly like the one threw from there. Yeah. That's a back shoulder pass that you're throwing with confidence because of how you got into rhythm during that second half. So I hope they watch that and they lean on that, keep him in rhythm, get him slants. He was more bootleg, one side reads, just make it easier. And I do think they're going to have Bo part of the run game going forward because with no Dobbins, you're going to get to games where, I mean, with all due respect to Harvey, they were patient with the run. They ran 21 times. Yeah. That number started with a 2. I was afraid it was going to be about 9 rushes for the game. But 21 for 59 is terrible. And I just think we need to look up and see Bo 5 for 42. Yeah. 6 for 50. And some of those need to be quarterback power, quarterback sweep. He's too good of an athlete, Bruce. When you watch him, don't you see that? Yeah. He never gets hurt. He's durable. It's not like he's running and just taking shots.
What is the reticence, do you think, there? Because it is a component of the game that was so effective a year ago, and it's such an X factor for this offense, right? It would be the one thing that this offense would have some unpredictability about. And that's the thing, I think, to some degree, that it's lacking right now. I mean, I think that you can pretty much – I mean, Sean, I thought, called a hell of a game against Kansas City. It was one of his best games And you're right. The energy that he and Nix had was encouraging. But part of the equation, I think, from a game plan design, has got to be Bo Nix's legs. Just because it gives them a factor of unpredictability in the offense that makes it difficult for the defense to prepare for.
100%. And anytime you talk to a defensive coordinator, they talk about how difficult it is to defend teams when the guy's going to take off, especially if you're in man coverage and you turn your back to him. I mean, like you see it with Herbert doing it a lot. Obviously, there's no one better than Lamar Jackson when healthy. They take off and get 8 to 12 yards, and that changes a drive. And with these field goal kickers now, when you're talking about drives where you need 35 yards, you bust off a 13-yard run on first down, that just changes the complexion of it. But why don't they do it more? This is my opinion from being around Payton now for these 3 seasons. He's trying to make Bo Nix basically Drew Brees like.
Yeah.
If you ever watched Drew Brees, not unlike Peyton Manning, he didn't run much at all, especially late in his career. And he was a pretty good athlete coming out of Purdue, but he didn't run much. Peyton believes you win the game from the pocket. And the out to that is, well, if he runs around, he's at risk of getting hurt. I normally would agree with that. Bo is so good at taking care of himself in space. He gets down, he gets out of bounds. When was the last time we saw him take a big hit when he took off? I mean, he's delivered the shoulder a couple of times.
He's trucked a couple of guys, right?
When is he, like, you see him and go, boom, he's lying, yard sale, like skiing and everything, the helmet's off. That just doesn't happen with him. And I think they have to take that into account that, man, this guy takes off, it's difficult. Now, I don't want to paint the picture that they've solved all their problems. We saw Bo multiple times signaling, get the play in, and that's on Sean. Sean's got to cut the verbiage down, get it in sooner so Bo can get to the line of scrimmage 12, 13 seconds. It's not fair to Bo, especially when you go on the road, getting to the line of scrimmage with 5 seconds so you can't look over the defense. He's not that guy yet. I mean, could Kurt Warner, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning do it? Yeah, that's the anomaly. So there is, there's still some stuff wrinkles they have to iron out. But I would just hope as they self-scout, and to your point, you look at ways like, how do we stay unpredictable? What is that boost? And some players might get better. Franklin might keep getting better, Pat Bryant. But to me, you're sitting on this athlete with Nix on a lot of days. He's one of the best athletes on the field. Let's not forget about him.
Yeah.
Let's not forget. Hey, you run a bootleg, you look up, no one's there, run 8 yards, get out of bounds. It's just, and Sean is just like, I'm not going to tell him to run because he doesn't want him to. But I just think, again, if you want to get to a Super Bowl, you can't leave that in your toolbox. You just can't. He's too good, too fast, too athletic to leave it. So why don't they do it? He doesn't want him to get hurt. He wants to win from the pocket, but I think they're gonna bend a little.
I do too.
He's gonna see it. Now it won't be enough for any of us, and there'll be resistance because Sean's Sean. But I do think they're gonna see that. Hey, we have a kind of a card we haven't played here.
A significant card and weapon that he's already proven to be. So be that as it may, how realistic is it to just hunt the number 1 seed in the AFC right now? You've already tipped your hand a little bit. I tend to agree. I think the Patriots have the inside track on this just based on their schedule. But how realistic is it potentially to chase that number 1 seed in the AFC? I guess probably just let's get the division in the barn first is probably the goal.
Yeah, it's at 9-2, they're 3.5 ahead of the Chiefs, 2 ahead of the Chargers. They're in a good spot. So they have 6 games remaining. 4 of those games are against teams with winning records, right, or 500 winning records. So if you're talking about Chiefs and Chargers, you need to split there. And then you're going to have to beat the Jaguars at home. You're going to have to beat the Packers at home.
Yep.
You got the Raiders, and you have Washington. So there's a path. I mean, so are you talking about going 5-1? That's a lot to ask a team that's already on crazy win streak. 4-2, I think it's realistic.
Yeah.
But then you would need help. The problem they run into is you look at the Patriots schedule, and it's just, I think they play 2 teams.
That's it.
They're 500, and the
right.
Jets. I mean, their division sucks this year. That's not their fault. I mean, Tom Brady lived on that terrible AFC East for 2 decades, so that's the nature of it. The one thing I would say about that is because of the way Denver plays defense, it's not like we're going to play Tom Brady and Bill Belichick in January in Foxborough. That never felt like a realistic win, no matter who was playing for Denver. This year, even if Drake May wins MVP, I think it's going to be Matthew Stafford, but you still say that this team hasn't done it.
No.
All those guys are young. Doesn't mean they can't. I've grown to respect them way more the last 2 weeks, like the last 2 times I've seen them play. Like, I get it now. I hadn't seen them play. And they're in Vrabel's image, but they haven't done it. Vrabel's never done it as a coach. So you could go, my point is you could go there and win, in my opinion. But you got to win the division. That's the first. So you need to split with the Chiefs and Chargers. If you lose to the Chiefs on Christmas Day, it sucks, but it's not the end of the world.
Right.
They're playing for their playoff lives. They've got to win. They can probably only afford one more loss because of the tiebreakers. Because they've lost to the Broncos, they've lost to the Chargers, they've lost to the Colts, they play the Colts.
To the Bills.
They've lost to the Bills, and they've lost to the Jaguars. Everybody that they're trying to beat in the wild card, they've lost to. But can they get it? Yes, but it would take probably 5-1. That is crazy talk. Like, you're talking about a team winning 13 games. I mean, if they do that and still don't get the 1 seed, then you just tip your cap to the Patriots. But if I had to put money on it today, I would say the Patriots go 1, they go 2, Colts go 3. But being the 2 is not the worst thing. You're going to host the playoff game, and then you're going to have to go somewhere tough. I get it, but I'm not going to sit here and say I'm totally sold on the Patriots.
Right.
The season is going to get long on them now. They got a lot of young guys playing. Like, and let's see, they're coming off a bye. Like, what does it look like? I mean, everything suggests they're going to be the 1 seed, but again, there's no track record with this group and this coach that they can pull it off. So if the Broncos can put pressure on them and come out and win those first 2 games, beat the Commanders, beat the Raiders.
The Raiders, right?
Now you're 11-2. What's it look like then? Now the Patriots, maybe you put a little vice grip on them and say, okay, can you match us punch for punch?
Well, you can be gluttonous to a degree and start thinking in terms of they're going to be favored in 5 of their last 6 games. They probably won't be favored going to Kansas City on Christmas, depending on what the Chiefs look like then. I mean, who knows? But I mean, just from where we are 6 weeks out right now, they're going to be favored probably in 5 of the 6 games. They're going to be favored against the Packers at home. They'll be favored against the Jaguars at home. I think they'll be a slight favorite against the Chargers at home, probably an underdog against the Chiefs. And they'll be favored in Washington and favored in Vegas. So
and real quick, Bruce, the one thing about Sean Payton is he typically wins games he's supposed to win. You talk about the Raiders, you talk about the Commanders. We talk about the Jaguars are a little better than that, but when is the last time Sean Payton lost to a team they were supposed to be? At home? They're 14-4 over their last 18 games. Yeah. And 3 of those losses are against the Chargers and 1 to the Chiefs, right? So if you count the playoffs, Bills, but there's no loss on your schedule. Like, remember that day they stubbed their toe against the Panthers?
Right.
They typically, and it might not look right, but they typically don't lose to bad teams. So isn't that why, Bruce, you think that they'd at least be in position for the 1 seed?
Right. That's it. That is the reason that you think they are. Even though I'm with you, the schedule would indicate a much easier road for the Patriots. But I don't know about the Patriots enough. I don't know about their mental toughness. I know the head coach has it. Yeah. I know that that's his history. And it seems to be working for them in New England. All right, let's get to what I think will become a growing story down the season stretch, the future of Vance Joseph in Denver. And I don't want to make an issue where maybe there isn't one, but I cannot imagine with the body of work that Vance is laying out this year consistently, week in and week out. It's been accentuated in the last 3 weeks without Pat Surtain, last week without Alex Singleton. Where are we with Vance Joseph right now? Last year, there was maybe some thoughts, well, Vance might get a couple of looks, and he did get a couple of looks. But now I think it's going to be microscopic for him, isn't it? Or am I wrong? And what can the Broncos do? Because there's no salary cap on what you can pay assistant coaches. Steve Spagnuolo is making a mint truck worth in Kansas City. You can pay guys to stay. What's the path to watch for now with Vance Joseph?
Well, he's such a known quantity because of the defense. And when you become a team in the hunt for the 1 seed, and the reason you are is because of the defense, all eyes go right to the coordinator. And as this season's gone on, people are realizing, like, damn, they're good. And then to your point, now they're doing it without the defensive player of the year, and it doesn't look that different. It doesn't look that much different. And Alex Singleton, and I love Alex. Greenlaw's a better player.
Yeah.
But Singleton still calls your signals. And he's out. And it doesn't look any different. I mean, you're running out Chris Abrams, Drain, and Jahdae Barron, and, trying to overcome Riley Moss's penalties. And I love Riley. And he gets the job and screwed a lot. But Riley, enough. Put the boxing gloves on. You can't be grabbing. I'm all for you when it's jockeying, but you can't be grabbing. Okay. But it doesn't look much different.
No.
And so I don't think there's a number that would keep him as a coordinator. In my conversations with Vance, and again, I've been lucky enough to know him. I covered him as a player at the University of Colorado starting in 90-91. He was a backup quarterback, had a huge game against Kansas one year, was known as a cerebral player then, has been coaching forever. And when he got his first head coaching job here, he wasn't ready. And John Elway screwed him by not letting him pick his staff. It just, the infrastructure wasn't in place. You got guys on his own staff that were backstabbing him, and he didn't have a quarterback. And they were aging out from that Super Bowl team they were aging in dog years and denying it. And here's Vance, like, it's a reset. It's not a reboot. It's a reset. We're going to be, and they really weren't. After his first season, it was very clear they needed to blow it up, but that wasn't what he signed up for. And with Elway, they were never going to do that. So all of that said, he wants another crack at it. And when he was in Arizona for those 4 or 5 years, from my understanding, is that he did a lot of stuff behind the scenes for Kingsbury, like a head coach, took a lot of stuff off his plate, whether it's how you deal with meetings, just the basically the legislation, if you will, part of that, the behind the scenes busy work. He was coordinating that, dealing with owners. Like, he learned a lot from that experience of how to prepare himself to coach again. Now he comes and coaches under Payton, which is not easy, not fun. I mean, he's the guy getting screamed out as much as anyone other than Bo Nix, and a lot of times undeserved, frankly, when you look at these games. I just think he's going to be ready. And when I look at the Bengals, where he coached forever, I could see, and Joe Burrow being there, that'd be a great place for him. I could see the Giants. I'm not as high on Jackson Dart as some others, but I know this. He has earned the right to be picky too. Going into this year, it's, anytime you get a chance to be head coach, do it. If I'm Vance, it's picky. And if I'm him, I'd want it to be, if Cincinnati opens, that's the one I would, because you got Burrow. He learned, I know from conversations in the past with him, you got to have a quarterback. You got to give yourself a chance. And if you look at Cincinnati, that offense, you go, man, you bring in a guy to fix the defense, all of a sudden, you're right there. So I just don't think there's a number that would keep him. I think he's been here with Sean for 3 years. It's like when you get to go to high school for 4 years. And then, you know what? It's time to go. I just don't know that Vance would want to just keep doing it, because I just don't. What else would he have to prove? I just don't. From a statistical standpoint, well, obviously, if they don't win a Super Bowl, that would be left on the table, and that might be the one thing. If the offers don't come in and they're crappy jobs, where he says, you know what, screw it, I'm going to stick out one more year here because we could go win a Super Bowl. That might be the only path that keeps him here, because I just don't think it would be a money thing. It would be an opportunity thing. And if a job like Cincinnati comes open, he becomes the favorite. I would be one to encourage him. You got to go do it.
Absolutely. No question about it. All right. A break right now. When we continue, Shedeur Sanders on schedule to make his first start in the NFL. What will he potentially look like with 1 week of working with the ones? 1 week of working with the ones. What, he's going to get about 50 snaps this week? How much should we really expect from the product out of Colorado as we continue here in a moment?
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. All their locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook, great hangout bar, great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. They are the sports bar.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. Don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corn bake. Man, you gotta try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Here's another great promotion from Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk. On December 13th, it's their annual holiday auction for a pair of Super Bowl tickets, tools, jewelry, electronics, toys, and kitchen appliances. Earn auction currency with every locked-up jackpot, players' points, or a daily cash drawing. There's so many ways to earn currency, and the more you play, the more you'll be able to bid and win what you want at their auction. So get up to Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos and start stacking your auction currency today.
All right, continuing with our buddy Troy Renck from the Denver Post. You can catch his podcast here on Mile High Sports. We'll get into that here in just a few minutes, what we can look forward to this week. A lot of really good Broncos talk on Troy's podcast, which is must-listen kind of stuff. We do want to thank all of our friends from Sportsbook Bar and Grill, the Ferguson Heating and Air, Sasquatch Casino and Blackhawk, RollerAuction.com, and Smokin' Dave's Barbecue. Fine sponsors of the show each and every day. Hot Takes with Goodman and Haertl. Eric will be back later this week, but we really appreciate Troy and the time that he's taking today and the rest of the week to get us through it. All right, Troy, let's get to Shedeur Sanders. It was, I don't know what people would expect. I thought the national narrative on Shedeur Sanders was pretty harsh, to be really honest, especially from guys who understand how little reps a third or second, in this case now, a second string quarterback get during the week. I'm not sure what they expected from Shedeur Sanders coming in the second half. He still backs up way too much for me when the pocket collapses and gives up large chunks. And you can't do that in the NFL because it puts you so far behind the sticks and basically ends drives. Be that as it may, how much improvement are you looking for this week with a full week of working with the ones, scheming, all of the stuff that Hill will do in the classroom with film and everything else going to Las Vegas?
I mean, and that's a good place to go.
Yeah, it sure is.
Raiders are spiraling. I mean, the Ravens were a tough defense for him to come in and make that kind of debut. It's difficult as a backup, as you know, Bruce, when we're out there. Backups, once the season starts, get limited reps I'm talking a couple of snaps. It's really mental. That's hard for young guys who've been starters, in the case of Shedeur, their entire life, since, second grade on. They don't understand the backup mentality of going through plays in meetings mentally. What I do, and we saw this with Drew Lock. I thought it was very similar to when he came in, when Drew Lock came in, and Drew whined about it afterward. I don't get any reps. It's like, again, that's the NFL. You have to find a way. And some of it's play calling. You got to put these guys in positions to succeed when you know that these young guys coming in as backups. It's tough. Justin Herbert did it. We get it. He wasn't really seen as a backup. But my thing with him is he's got to, over these next, let's say he gets 2 or 3 more starts, whatever that number is. He's definitely going to start this week, it looks like. He's got to process better.
Yes.
He's just got to process better. He's got a pro arm. We saw it on a couple of throws. He's athletic enough. He's not, a great athlete. And some people were saying he was better than Caleb Williams. I was just laughing. I'm like, he's not. Caleb is a legit runner, and he's built differently. He's bigger. Shedeur's athletic enough. His arm strength is average. I mean, it'd be like an average fastball in big league, but you can win with all that.
Sure.
But you can only win with that, Bruce, if you're processing well. And at some point, he has to transition from, I'm the guy that just plays, playground football, run around, to reinventing himself slowly. This isn't an overnight process of, I'm the thinking quarterback. I'm the guy that's going to, because he's really accurate. That's the thing. On time, on target, you can win in the NFL. But he's got to find a way to say, okay, I want to be known for a guy, processes fast, gets rid of the ball quickly. That somewhere that pendulum has to start swinging with him. Because if he thinks he's going to win like he did, the way he did in college, he's not. And the problem is he's not going to be given the opportunity long enough to show that could work, which it won't. But it's just the coach isn't going to stick with him for 6-7 weeks where he's running around backwards playing Fran Tarkenton, Roger Staubach. It's just, that's not the modern NFL. It's not. And he's not athletic enough to do it in the NFL, doesn't have the arm strength to do it in the NFL. I'm rooting for him, but I just hope at some point, and I didn't exactly see it in his post-game presser, I'll be honest. At some point, you've got to be humbled by this entire process.
Right.
The draft slide, the third string, never getting reps. That's all telling you something. They're sending you a message that get it together in the classroom, process. I'm just hoping that at some point that clicks where he's like, that's all I'm going to be, man. I'm going to be smart, ball out quickly, accurate, because he can do that. But he can't win the way he wants to win right now when I watch him play. And maybe we'll see progress this week against the Raiders with a full week of practice.
But we're asking him to be able to master maybe the hardest thing to do in all of professional sports, at least in North America, the sports that we are familiar with. Going from an athletic guy in college who can just beat you with talent to all of a sudden being a cerebral quarterback that can beat you on concepts, that can beat you with processing. That is a very hard thing to ask a young player to do. Some players can do it. Some players simply can't do it, and they can never do it. And it doesn't mean that they're not wonderful athletes, that they don't have a lot of things that they can bring to the table. It just means to be effective as a quarterback in the National Football League, you don't have the requisite skill set, because sometimes it's tough to learn it. You just have to have a brain that allows you to process it and to understand it. That's a hard thing to think that a guy can just learn.
Right. Well, you saw it. I mean, we can use our experience here. Paxton Lynch never got it.
No.
Never got it. Was never comfortable. And the offense, he was a fish on a bicycle. It was a terrible fit. But he never got it. It never clicked. And just what it meant to be the quarterback of an NFL team, CEO of a Fortune 500 company, eat it, live it, breathe it. It didn't click. And he's now back playing arena ball for the Cardiff Spartans. He loves football. It's good for him, but he didn't have that drive 8-9 years ago. He didn't. Then we watched it with Drew Lock here.
Yep.
Drew Lock, for everything you say about Shedeur Sanders, Drew Lock's a better athlete and has a better arm than Shedeur.
Yep.
I've seen them both live multiple times. And Drew, you can't win games like he won at Missouri, where you throw 35 for 45 with 4 touchdowns and 3 picks. You don't win games like that in the NFL. And to Drew's credit, he applied himself mentally, but he never he's just a guy who has to see guys open. He's not a guy who anticipates windows. And that's something like, it's just hard to teach. Can your mind process it well? It's the old, you can get the answer. Could you get the answer on Jeopardy? Like, I can get the answer, Bruce, but can I get it in a tenth of a second? And
Right.
And I don't know that I would. I mean, like some guys see it and they got to see somebody open to throw it. Well, in the NFL, by the time you throw it to see them open, they're not open anymore, or you're getting sacked. Like, it's just the timing thing, this clock thing. It's like 1,001, 1,002, 1,000, ball's got to be out. And you got to just trust they're going to be there. And so can he, the thing that he has over Drew, and I'm not saying it's apples to apples, but
right.
Young quarterback, and Drew had to come in as a backup, and that because of the one thing he has over Drew, he's more accurate. Shedeur,
Yes.
when he's on time, is very accurate. And so what I would like to see is Stefanski setting him up with slants, getting the ball out quickly, calling plays design where we're not doing double routes and you're not just basically baiting him to stay in the pocket and do dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Get the ball out quickly. Get it out quickly. Make it easier for him. And will that happen? I don't know. Stefanski, they ran off Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
You know, they made a huge, and Paul D. Test as part of that, they made a huge mistake with Deshaun. Like, Kevin Stefanski's a good football coach. He's not great with young quarterbacks right now. It's just, he wants to run the ball. It's just kind of clunky. So, again, I would just hope if this is it, they really want to see if they have, because they need to leave the season knowing, do they have anything with Gabriel and Shedeur? Or are they back in the quarterback market? My guess is the quarterback of the Browns, the starter for next season, is not on their roster right now. But I want to find that out with Shedeur. I've seen enough of Gabriel to know he's not a long-term answer. He's probably more of a suited as a backup.
Yep.
He's not a long-term answer. So find out if Shedeur is, given the last 4 or 5 games. But he's got to be able to apply himself in a way that shows that he could be that guy. Like, that's what I guess I'm getting at. And I don't know all the dynamics, but if they say you're the guy, then you're living in the coach's office, you're living in the film. Like, you've got to take it more seriously than he's probably taken anything in his life, because you don't have the safety net of your father as your coach and coordinator. You've got to do it in a way where they feel comfortable that you're prepared. I mean, NFL coaches they have no patience for this stuff. They're not going, oh, you're all right. Oh, you're late, or you didn't do that. Like, I just hope Shedeur just like, damn it, I'm putting my head down.
Yeah.
I'm going to make the most of this. And maybe he is. I don't know. His post-game presser kind of indicated like, it was cool to kind of be out. Like, I don't like that.
No.
And I'm not going to hold that against him. Just saying, I would like to see going forward, like, I'm getting this opportunity and I'm doing everything to be ready, and then see what it looks like against the Raiders. Because I think all of us are rooting for him to do well and get a fair shake, but he's also got to do his part as well.
The great Troy Renck with us from the Denver Post. The podcast can be found here at Mile High Sports. I know it's pretty Broncos-centric this week.
Yeah, I mean, being able to recap that game, because
yeah,
you know, the old even a blind squirrel finds a nut. I picked them to win 20-18. They won 22-19. I wrote a column on Sunday saying this is where Payton is good, is in these spots. Sometimes when his team's favored in the playoffs, they play tight. In big games, they can have a tendency to play tight because he's tight. He's volcanic. But as an underdog, Payton has a way, Bruce, of pushing buttons that get guys just frothing at the mouth, like Forrest Whitaker in Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Nice.
They're jumping over the line. There's the cars in the parking lot. He's taking names. And so the podcast is kind of about that. We hear from Adam Troutman. We hear from John Franklin Myers about the question we started the show with of, you know, what are the critics saying now? And we hear from Mike McGlinchey on Bo Nix. So just some good insight from players. Gives Broncos countries a good idea where these players, where their heads at. And then Payton explained why he thinks they win in these situations, you know, because of the way the guys they picked are handpicked and mentally tough, competitive, love football, guys he feels like are built to deal with adversity. And that's playing out. I mean, Again, you can think what you want about Sean Payton. The guy has a vision and he has a plan. And it doesn't mean it's always going to look right, but you never feel like they're, you know, just outside the guardrails, you know, streaming off the cliff. You feel like even when it's bad, it's like, okay, I could see why this could work. And so that's the pod this week. Broncos country they enjoy this. You're 9-2, Broncos country.
Right.
After the previous 7 years, it would always be, well, if they win 6 of their last 7, and you're like, no chance.
No, the math is actually good for him. All right, Troy, thanks. We'll see you as the rest of the week progresses. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.